Welcome, man. Hello. Nice to meet you and glad to have you here, Jean Paul. So, how are you, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Lack of sleep, but that's because of the passion I've got going on for the projects I'm working on. So no issues there. But yeah, I guess yeah. Thanks for having me, and yeah, let's dive in.
Yes, great. Can't wait to talk about your project, man. But before, I think that for our community, we think we need to start a bit from the beginning. So, what's your story with NFTs? What NFTs are? Where they are? This crazy stuff in this moment. So let's talk a bit about this. What's your story with NFTs, man?
Yeah, so it's funny because I've known about NFTs since probably 2016, or maybe it was 2017, whenever Crypto Kitties was launched. And I don't know how much you know about Crypto Kitties, but it was like it spread like wildfire. I don't know what happened, but somehow some person was like, you know what, I'm gonna have these procedurally generated crypto cats released onto the blockchain, and people can pay Ethereum for them. And there's rarity because different cats have different features, and some features are more rare than others. And I just thought it was really cool. I think at the time I was really into what was possible in the community, and all this grandiose talk of like what could Ethereum do, what are dApps and all these things. And for people who don't know what a dApp is, it's just a digital application. And so I was like, you know what, I want to support it. I bought some crypto kitties. uh I don't even have access to that wallet anymore. I don't They're
Ah,
lost.
you lost
No,
it.
no pun intended, but they're lost in the ether. And
Oh no.
they're just, it was fun. I think I spent at the time like 2 Ethereum, which may have been equivalent to like, I don't know, $500 or so. Like it wasn't all that much money in terms of like what it was, but I had fun doing it, and that made me start thinking like, okay, so if digital art can be released on this platform, and there can be rarity and ownership, what else can you do with NFTs? And that really just like opened my mind. And since 2017, I've been working on my skills as a person in what I do, which is user experience design, web design, community development, and things like that, because I wanted to eventually land a job in this space. And
And you did
I'm
it.
saying, yeah, and I'm saying it very clearly now, but someone, I'm in my, like, I'm almost 30. I couldn't tell you this clearly what I wanted 3 years ago. I would have told you that, like, I like blockchain and design, and one day I'll do something in that world, hopefully. And now I'm working for a company called Influence. It's a small, scrappy startup that we're making a uh, incredible game. It's a space strategy MMO built on the Ethereum blockchain, where all the assets are NFT ERC 721 tokens. They're composable and ownable. And so basically, what that means is players who decide to play the game and buy assets within the game, they own them. And that could open up entire economies. And we're basically gamifying economies. And so we want an experience similar to like Eve Online and things like that, where the storyline is there, the lore is there, but players can really build whatever they decide they want to be, whether it's a starship commander or a merchant who travels the asteroid belt
Oh.
and finds the rarest resources and provides them to the people in need.
Oh my god, man, it's crazy. So influence is your game, and I, of course, I can't wait to play it. And will you like to dive deeper inside it? I don't know when you start, what's behind the team, and what you do for influence.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So Chris, who started all of this, um, he had the idea almost 10 years ago. But at the time, Bitcoin was still in its infancy.
And
So
there
it's like
weren't NFTs.
yeah. And so like he didn't really have a firm idea of exactly what this would look like. It was more an idea for a game. And then he was huge into EVE Online and actually ran one of the largest corporations within it called Dreadit. And from that, because he just loved playing it and providing to the community, he kept playing because he saw the value in the community. However, after a period of time, I think what he probably ran into was the fact that he's spending countless hours of his life playing a game that if he decides to leave it, he doesn't own anything that he's achieved in that game. It's just what he paid to that game and the memories that he has, which is worth something. I'm not saying, I mean, I'm a person who spent probably 100,000 hours on World of Warcraft and I don't regret it. But I think when he got into crypto and this NFT space, I think it latched onto his brain because he's such a high level developer that he just decided like, okay, I get it. Like he understands NFTs and the possibility of ownership. And so flipping the entire gaming industry on its head, where it comes to where the players own the game and the developers just have to make sure that the game is fun for people to play so that the community can continue to thrive. Because games won't make money unless transactions happen.
Yeah.
So we're basically like a credit card processor where we take a tiny percentage, in terms of, I don't know what the exact percentage will be, but it's going to be like under 2% or something
Yeah.
like that. Um, where if there's 100,000 people playing and they're trading and all these transactions are happening on the blockchain and in the form of cryptocurrency and ERC 721 tokens as NFTs, we then make an income. Now, likely at the start, it's not going to be enough to cover all of our expenses and things like that. And so there has to
Yeah,
be a way
sure.
to,
At the beginning, yes, sure.
yeah. And so we have to fund the game. And how we're doing that is through the sale of the basically all the asteroids within the game, which will serve as a base for players who own them to mine, build, manufacture, trade. It's their own little ecosystem. They can do whatever they want. They get to choose what role they play within influence, which is really cool. But if the game takes off and we have a million players, their asteroid becomes valuable, inherently valuable,
Yeah.
because there's only 250,000 of them.
Yeah.
And so that makes it so that not every player could even own one. And I don't want to get too much into the nitty gritty, but it just opens up the ability for
Yeah.
decentralized finance to come into this game, and people can create literal economies uh, like liquidity pools and all this stuff is completely possible in game. And it just blows my mind that in the future, esports don't always have to be about streaming and like sponsorship. It can be about, I'm just really good at this game and I've figured out the market. I know it sells well and I'm here a lot and play and I make a living doing it. So it's opening up avenues for people who just want to
Yeah.
create value for other people to make money in a game, where right now most centralized games don't really have the ability for players to make money.
Yeah, man, this is an amazing vision. You really opened me a door I didn't know. Basically, what you're saying is that also because you're a startup and I've been part of a startup, so I know how difficult it is to raise money. And you are saying so you are not VC funded, you have not investors behind because you're saying, hey, we will make our players the investors of the game.
Yep. Yeah. So no VC capital. We're self-funded. And I think the cool thing about that, how you said, it's like players are funding the game. They're not just funding the game,
They
they're
are also
owning.
playing. They're owning and playing the game while they're
So
funding it.
yeah, exactly. It's like um, I like to use World of Warcraft because that's the game I played a lot when I was younger. But if you just imagine the map itself, if you were to open up the map by pressing M in our game, if we just said like, "Hey, it's World of Warcraft," players would own what you're looking at. So like anything that's achieved within that space would have ownership, and players can then create economy. So I think that is the point to stress, is that the game itself only succeeds if the players enjoy it. And if the players enjoy it, they also own part of it. So
Great.
it's like, it's such an interesting mechanism that
Yeah.
creates a world rather than a game.
Yeah, it's literally the enthusiasm of people that brings the game to explode. Oh, great, man. So, basically, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, this is, of course, the power of network effect, that we can also say this is the power of the community, because in NFTs, in blockchain, in all kind of this stuff, the power is behind the people, is in the people behind it. So, in the power of the community. And what do you think will be the future communities with NFTs? So what's the power of a community inside the NFTs world?
Wow, that I could talk for hours on that, but let me distill it down to something that like is easy to digest. I think the future of communities with NFTs, and what's really cool about having things programmed into the blockchain, is that communities can be cross-platform. So there will be tribalism, like every game, where people are like, no, this is my game, or this is my game. But the cool thing is that the pieces of the game can be the same across multiple games. Now that means, like, if Influence has a ship within the game, and someone then wants to make a, let's say, a pixel art version of Influence, they can take that same NFT and stake it in their game so that it functions in both games. So now you have, it may be different in the second game. It may not be the same ship. It may be a weapon or something, but it would hold the same NFT. And so what that does is, as the community grows, certain assets become inherently valuable because they're being used on 10 different games.
Yeah,
So if I buy a ship in Influence, and then five other games decide to port that code into their game and stake it, I now have a ship that is also able to be used in five other games. And there's only 250, let's say, of
yeah.
this ship. That means only 250 people can utilize it. And if it's really good, there's going to be a lot of people that are willing to either buy it, or the people who own it will be extremely thrilled that they bought into this because they have something unique. And it's not about money. Obviously, people want to make money, and there's a craze around NFTs and making money and all this stuff. But all the interesting people I've met in this community, money is a driving force for everyone's life. Everybody knows that. Artists should make money for what they do. No one should abuse artists. But the people who are interesting have ideas behind their art. It's not just pictures on, digital medium.
Yeah,
It has a story, and Influence itself is a story, and we're opening up the universe, I think, to a wide spectrum of people, the gamer community, because once we open those floodgates, the game, let's say the game's really successful, really fun, everything like that, everyone knows about NFTs and blockchain now, which right now, if you poll 10 people, they may have heard of NFTs, and they probably know the name Bitcoin. And that's about as far as it goes. But once you bring people in where they don't have to understand the technology and they're just enjoying it, they go, "Oh yeah, this is cool. I like this." Like, so yeah, I
yeah,
think how the community will grow is just essentially a supportive network of people that all want to see this technology thrive. And now there's going to be plenty that don't survive the hype. And in 5 years, you'll probably see a very low percentage of what you see today. But the winners that come through will have done something really big for the community, and this marketplace will have grown astronomically.
This crazy, man, very awesome. I really like this stuff, and I think that as you asked me before we started, you secretly said me, "Hey, I'd like to dive deeper in the tech side of this game because I'm not a tech guy, but I will try to understand you." And of course, I will be very interested because for the developers, maybe for the UX designers, for the techie guys that are listening us, to know more about what's behind the building process of a game like this, in which you need to unify DeFi, you need to unify games, you need to build a community, you need to, of course, have a lot of power on the servers, but it's better that I stop here because this is the only stuff I know, so I let you talk more about it.
No, that was great. I think you made a good point. Is like we're not just building a game. I mean, every game wants to build a community, obviously, because they want players. But the difference between this game and other games is that like there's not a lot of games on blockchain. So um, the person who started all this, Chris, he had to not only learn how to like really build games, and I mean he's been a developer forever, so like he's awesome. But a lot of this technology and blockchain wasn't finalized and
Yeah.
still isn't. And so he's had to learn as he goes, and things have changed. And so you'll find a lot of games on blockchain that aren't on the Ethereum blockchain. And that's because other people have come in like
So
whack.
are there, because I don't really know about a lot about it. Are there a lot? So are there already a lot of games on the Ethereum blockchain?
There's plenty. I wouldn't say that there's a lot that are fully playable and immersive. There's a lot of little arcade type things or card games. And
Okay.
don't get me wrong, I
So
played
very
Magic.
very basic games.
Yes. So, I mean, there's some really great ones. Like I think Gods Unchained is a great example of what's possible. There's a new one that just launched today. It's not playable yet, but you can go buy the cards for it. It's called Parallel, um, and and it's just you see these games growing, but the whole thing is with the blockchain technology, nothing's set in stone right now. So in a year from now, a lot of these games will have to adopt new technologies to make sure that their game runs efficiently. And it's absolutely going to happen. It's not like games are just going to die because of the technology progressing. But I think the interesting thing is it's not set in stone. You can't just go make a game right now on the blockchain and then let go and be like, cool, all we're doing is fixing bugs. You have
Yeah.
to, because how it works is,
It
every
remembers me something happened some month ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it works because I mean, for people who don't know this, let me slow down and explain it. Transactions that happen within game that are built on a blockchain require some sort of token or cryptocurrency to facilitate those transactions. So whether a game has a native token in it that you can either buy or mine, or it's something like built on Ethereum where you can use Ethereum as the fuel to burn in between transactions, you need that. And other companies will say
The
Blizzard again,
gas fees, right?
yeah, so they're
Yeah.
gas fees. Right now, with most centralized games, you earn, let's say, gold or diamonds or something like that, and you can spend them on things. Right now, in blockchain world, you have to earn the cryptocurrency or purchase that cryptocurrency somewhere. And so that's a little bit of a barrier right now that we're progressing on how to solve that for users so they don't feel scared to play the game like, oh, they're going to lose a bunch of money. And it really isn't that bad, but it's different because you're not just paying a membership fee per month or a subscription fee to a game. You have to fund a wallet that is then interacting with the blockchain during the game so that if you trade something, the gas fees can get paid. So,
Okay.
and if I go even simpler than gas fee, because that might be hard to understand, it's just a transaction fee. When you swipe your
Yeah.
credit card on something, it's the same thing. But it's in as time goes on, gas fees will be very, very small. However, right now, a lot of people think, oh, but I've heard gas fees are unreasonably high and things like that. Yes, because right now we're at like a bottleneck where the development on the platform is so high. There are
Yeah,
so many things going on in this space that there are millions and millions of transactions happening every single hour.
yeah.
And the technology,
I've seen that Ethereum has got 10 more times transactions every day than Bitcoin.
yeah, and that's exactly the point. So right now, we are the Ethereum community is creating what's called layer 2 solutions, which will allow those transactions that are clogging the network right now and causing fees to be high to be done off chain or on side chain, which means they can run, let's say, 100,000 transactions on this side chain and then post it to the Ethereum chain, and it happens as one transaction. And so now you're able to go from, let's say, 5,000 transactions a minute on the network. And I don't know the actual number. This is just, me making this number up, but to 100,000 transactions a minute, because the ability to condense tons of transactions into one allows the network to speed up. And when that happens, buying an NFT on OpenSea or Rarible or something like that won't cost $20 in gas fees. It'll cost maybe 50 cents, like maybe. I
Maybe.
don't, the ultimate goal would be that it's like 10 cents or something
Yes,
like that.
yes. I've
People
seen that the ultimate goal is that there won't be gas fees in NFTs anymore. So this is
yeah.
the ultimate goal. Okay. And how can you realize, in your opinion, no? So if people that now earns from gas fees, they won't earn anymore from gas fees. What from where they will have an income?
So sorry, could you just are you wondering like where the income for artists are going to come from, or
No,
where
no,
the
not for
fees for
artists.
the miners?
The income from the people that today have an income from gas fees. If tomorrow, so how can we eliminate gas fees in order
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make
great. And I don't know how much you know about this already, but
very little, man?
so right now there are two ways of utilizing blockchain with cryptocurrency. There's the POW model, which is proof of work. That is
Yeah,
mining. That is how everyone understands it today. Miners solve equations that mine blocks, and those blocks consist of all the transactions. And so if you imagine that, if there's tons and tons of transactions happening, you can only mine so fast because uh, processors can only go so fast.
yeah,
So that's what causes the network to slow down. And it can be costly because it's kind of a pay to play, where if you pay more gas, you get to go to the front of the line, which it's not that much difference. It's like maybe $1 worth of difference that if you want to go to the front of line. So in reality, it doesn't make that big of a difference. And transactions are still very fast, maybe like a few minutes to an hour at the very longest. However, the other model is called proof of stake or POS.
yeah,
Um, and, proof of stake is this interesting concept that the Ethereum network is really trying to pioneer in a way that is super secure. Other networks already have staking, it's called, but they're leveraging other things where it might be a little less secure. And so Ethereum, in my opinion, and I'm not knocking any other network, I think there's an ecosystem for everything. So um, Ethereum, though, is going to be moving to Ethereum 2.0, which will
yeah.
have proof of stake,
This
and
year,
that's going
right? This year, it's planned for 2021. Ethereum 2.0.
Yeah, so Ethereum, it's not for sure, but likely end of 2021, proof of stake will be on mainnet. Right now, it is functioning and working, but it is not what is providing security to the network yet. They're
Yeah,
basically saying, hey, we have it up and running, it's working, everything is good, but
yeah,
we need to finalize the other
yeah,
code before we merge it with the current chain. And um, So essentially, back to your question though, how do people make money to make sure that the network is secure? Right now, they mine. Later, if everything is successful with Ethereum, at least, staking will happen where people can stake their Ethereum they own. Right now, it's a minimum of 32 Ethereum. If you have the 32 Ethereum in a staking node, what happens is you are then the person who is securing the network. The transactions are going through your node, and you are paid a percentage
Oh,
over time. So,
oh, great. So
yeah,
you can make the Ethereum blockchain more safer by staking your Ethereum as a proof of someone that has got Ethereum, has got interest in the blockchain, and the whole network gives you a reward in order of that.
exactly. And
Oh,
the other part of it, though, is that staking is in 1 year terms, essentially. So once you decide to stake, you will not be able to remove your Ethereum for 1 year.
for 1 year. Yeah,
And the reason that is because they want to make sure that the network is not constantly morphing in size.
yeah, of course.
And so having it in 1 year terms, it allows the network to adapt to whatever the size will be. And the more people staking, the more transactions possible and the
Yeah,
faster the network is. And so ultimately, we'll be able to do so. Right now, credit card agencies can process between like 50,000 and 100,000 transactions per minute. So if Ethereum is successful, which I believe it will be, and they've done a lot of work in testing all this, we will be able to process that or more pretty soon, which allows for the entire market, going back to NFTs and things like that, to then survive on a global economy, because we are able to facilitate transaction as well as what is doing it now, if not better, but in a decentralized way. And that provides resources, money, and security that is decentralized across the entire planet rather than in the hands of big companies like Wells Fargo,
yeah,
Citibank, whatever it is. And obviously, I'm not here to knock anything, but I think there's opportunity to have everything. And I think decentralized, it's going to eat up a part of the market share. And I hope that it does, because it puts the power in people's hands versus companies' hands.
yeah. Great. So, do you think that this helps the distribution of wealth? Because what I'm imagining is if you are rich, when in the sense that if you've got a lot of Ethereum, you've got a lot of cryptos, you just don't keep it for yourself, but you put it into the system, and it this will help the system to be more efficient for everyone. So it will
Yeah,
help like the distribution instead of having a few people that has got a lot of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else, and they just keep it from themselves.
yeah, and there's quite a few different avenues, but I think the main point there is that if someone has $1 billion and they want to stake $1 billion in the network, they can totally do that. But what they're doing by that is taking money outside of just a bank account that is earning almost no interest, and helping a network be secure while
Yeah,
also earning a reward.
yeah,
And so it poses the question, in the future, can someone who stakes 32 Ethereum make enough off of that each year to maybe make a wage of some sort? Now, staking a 32 Ethereum, you're not going to be rich every year, because it's not going to, I mean, unless Ethereum goes to like $50,000 a coin and you're earning, you know, 3 coins a year and you're making 150 grand a year, the likelihood of
yeah,
that is fairly low,
yeah,
because it's an equilibrium. The more people that stake, the lower the percentage that you earn,
yeah.
because only so much that can be
Yes,
distributed.
because the risk gets lower.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it's a model that allows people to become their own bank, their own wallet, and their
Yeah,
own source of security and finances, and then it moves it from like speculation So right now, most of the crypto market is all speculation, hype, big grandiose plans, things like that. But when you can provide your money that you've earned into a thing that earns you money safely, that makes it go, hey, we're here to stay, and like we're here to compete in the
Yeah,
market.
yeah,
uh right now it's here and it's going to stay, but the believers that are in it right now are trusting that it continues on its path.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. Yeah, really amazing. Um, so there are also some already some usage of something like that. I don't know if you know about BlockFi or similar platforms where you can already stake some Ethereum, some cryptos. What do you think about that? And what do you think they are the, I don't know, the top platform for staking cryptos today?
Yeah, well, one that is launching pretty soon that I've followed fairly regularly is called Rocket Pool.
Rocket
uh,
Pool. Is it
yeah.
launching when? Is it launching when?
um, I'm not positive when it's launching. I don't think the official launch date is out
Oh,
yet. They're
yeah.
working out the final kinks
Okay.
before they commit to being someone who is. So the main thing that I should say for these is like Coinbase, BlockFi, Rocket Pool, all the places that you can stake your Ethereum. What they're providing is for people who don't have 32 Ethereum to stake are able to provide, let's say, one Ethereum
Yeah.
or half Ethereum. And so you can group a community together to pool your resources and say, hey, we've got 32 Ethereum as a group. We can create a node, and
Oh,
Rocket
you
Pool
can do
will.
it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
So
know about.
you then pool your resources together, and then at this point, Rocket Pool manages your node. They take a percentage of what's gained, and the rest of the people will earn their percentage as well.
Great.
So the earnings will be smaller because one, you're staking less than 32 Ethereum, and you're going to give a percentage to Rocket Pool. However, it's a really good way to further expand the security of the network because lots of different people are coming in and providing, staking nodes. So it's a
Great.
really interesting concept. If you want to own your own node, you can do it. You've got to have some time and effort and some tech knowledge that you'd have to read up on.
Yeah.
But if you have 32 Ethereum, you can stake your Ethereum on the network right now.
Great to know.
It's cool.
So the rush for 32 Ethereum was just started.
Yeah, yeah. I think last time I checked, oh god, there's a website you can just look it up, but it's like over, like I think it's like $5 billion or $1 billion. Some absurd amount of money has already staked
Yeah.
in Ethereum. So like, I think people who wonder, is Ethereum going to stick around? Well, over $1 billion has locked up their money for over a year to say, hey, we're here to stay. So that gives it further, I think, clout.
Crazy. What? Which are the risks of staking now? So the only risk is that I don't know, Coinbase, BlockFi doesn't exist anymore, or are there other risks? A risk today?
No, there's plenty of risks. I don't know if you know the term, but there can be a black swan event.
Ah,
So
yeah, I
if
know the term.
so if something is wrong in the code and someone can exploit it, then theoretically people could lose a lot of money.
So
Um,
hackers is a risk today.
hackers is a risk.
And do you think that like Coinbase, BlockFi are so vulnerable?
I think they're vulnerable to, just like any company is
Yeah,
vulnerable to hackers. But
yeah, right.
I think that how staking kind of works is it's balanced on this trust system. So if the network catches you doing something wrong, it slashes your funds by a certain percentage. So
Yeah.
let's just say you're posting transactions that are false to the network. You've staked that Ethereum in your node,
Uh huh.
and then now the network goes, hey, you're bad, and what you did is worth a slashing of 10% of your Ethereum or whatever it is. It could be minute, almost nothing. It could be all of it, depending on what you do. And this makes it really difficult for something called a 51% attack. So when a network, um, enough people pool their resource together where an attacker has
So,
51% of the entire network, and then they can basically
oh.
control the contract.
So
It's
it's like for companies when external investors own the 51% of a company, they've got more power. It's
yep.
like the same concept.
So staking has built-in mechanisms where that is, I don't want to say impossible, but it would require one, like billions upon like Jeff Bezos money. If he dumped all of it, like if he dumped all of his money into, staking, if this goes global, like he could have a chance of like gaining some momentum, but because of that slashing mechanism, he may lose 99% of his money before anything could happen. And at that point, was it worth it?
Yeah,
Probably not.
yeah.
So it's definitely interesting, but I'm probably losing people a bit here. This is a little like I'm a total Ethereum nerd, so it's like
I love it, but no, no, but really, I'm understanding. So you are a nerd, but you are a nerd that can talk to people that are not so nerd like you. So great for you.
you
um,
know,
Great, man. Let's come back a second to maybe your gaming perspective. So I'm very interested in gaming and NFTs because, of course, it's crazy that one day we can have like I don't know Fortnite skins and we can use our skins in every other games. And I hope maybe the I don't know other companies like Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard, we will join this way in which they are doing some skins, they are doing something that you can use in every other games. Or do you think that they won't join and we will see other companies just built in the NFTs world, in the blockchain world, and we will have these two parallel markets, and they won't have.
yeah, no, this is a really great question, and it's more of a philosophical question than like what's actually going to happen. Because if anyone tells you what's going to happen, don't buy their advice. Like, um, I'll,
And don't invest basing on your net advice.
yeah, this is not financial advice, okay,
It's
people.
not a financial
Yeah,
advice.
but I think how it's going to work is in the beginning, Blizzard, Activision, all these companies, they want nothing to do with this model, nothing at all. They're going to not actively compete against us, but it will be, they'll be like, nah, we're good. Their business model functions by keeping everything centralized, and they make lots and lots and lots of money doing it. So, with the blockchain side of gaming, as it grows and it gains more notoriety and more trust, we might see more indie games, Steam games, decide to build on blockchain. And skins and things like that people purchase in game, what they might do is, let's just say, we'll go with Counter Strike. Everybody knows Counter Strike.
Yeah.
Um, Counter Strike might be like, hey, now our
I
game is on.
I'll say something about Counter Strike. I also opened a channel with I don't play Counter Strike, but my cousin and colleague plays Counter Strike, and we opened a channel. It's named Cyberdog. I will also link it in the description with all the other channels, all the other links that we mentioned before. So good for Counter Strike that you're talking about it.
Yeah, so if we just take them for example, let's say they build their game and they put it onto the Ethereum blockchain. What will happen is that all of the assets will likely be somewhat ownable. Not everything, and they don't want to give away their entire game. Obviously, they have a huge franchise. However, they may say, hey, NFT artists that we love, we want to give you the thumbs up to build skins and weapon mods or whatever else. It could be anything from maps to weapons to skins. We want you to be able to build it, and we will port it into the game so people can purchase it. and we'll pay you a percentage of that every time someone purchases it. So it opens up business models that right now aren't exactly possible without a lot of centralized agreements. So essentially allows the entire world of artists who create NFT works to, if they want, spend time learning on how to build, let's say, 3D uh, models of skins for a game. And if they can get approved by Counter-Strike, they can load it up into their marketplace and they earn money. Just like, uh, what's another platform right now that's centralized that you can, like I pay for a subscription called Avanto. It's a graphic platform, so
Uh-huh.
I can buy pictures, graphics, icons, templates. Because in
Yeah.
my work, I have so much that I have to design. Sometimes it's easier to go and say, hey, I want to support this guy. He has a
Yeah.
great icon set. I
Yeah.
don't have to spend the time building it. It's cheaper for us to buy it and him get paid
Oh,
than.
sure.
But right now, you have to trust that the centralized network, you know, is going to be forthcoming with your money, and they can also change the agreement anytime they want, and it's difficult. So I think opening up the platform for more like stock photography platform, like this is all going to happen on blockchain eventually, and it just makes sense because you can track ownership
Yeah.
better, and you can do limited quantities a lot easier. So it creates inherent value and rarity through that. And I think that the gaming community for probably the next 5 years or so is really going to be on the blockchain gaming community is going to be on its own. There's not going to be a lot of centralized companies that come in, big ones at least, but we'll start to see kind of a bleed of indie game builders who usually would put on Steam decide, hey, I'm going to build on blockchain
Okay.
because this crypto thing is really cool and we want players to be able to own a piece of the game.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. So you're saying that these big companies will join the NFTs world by passing by the marketplace, not just the game. So like Steam and the other marketplace you mentioned.
Yeah, so it's
So
it's it,
the switch will happen starting from from finance instead of gaming itself, and then game will follow. Because
yeah,
today there are already these marketplace like Steam or anyone else in which you can buy skins, all this stuff.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think Steam is a really great platform, and Steam will probably be around a very long time. They may even integrate into the blockchain eventually and have a whole separate program that's Steam blockchain or something like that. But what it's going to take to bring, let's say, Activision or Blizzard or any of these EA Sports or something to come in to crypto land and build on the blockchain is a lot because
Yeah.
they have empires with billions of dollars that they have made and can throw around and fund games with hundreds of millions of dollars if they so choose, and they don't have to give a cent away to anyone except for obviously their investors,
Yeah.
their VC, and it's about stock price.
Yeah.
So I think if I just touch on this point really fast, it might make more sense for people. Right now, big companies, how they how people who work there make a lot of money is they go public.
Yeah.
And
IPO.
when that happens, you're flipping the model from a private company to a public. And when it's public, the public knows everything you do. And you have to make sure that the share price goes up. That is what they want
Yeah.
because I have bought into this game. And that's similar to blockchain. If you buy an item in game, you're hoping that the value of that item goes up over time.
Yeah.
However, with that said, all of the decisions are centralized versus community driven. It's a lot easier in the blockchain world to have a voice and to bring players together and say, hey, we're spending all this money in game and we love the game, but we really want to see this for the expansion. And we can create something called a DAO. It's basically a decentralized organization
Yeah.
where we can say, hey, all the fees that we have coming from the game, we are willing to put 90% of our fees that we generate into developers' pockets to create content for the community. So now you have a whole business model where it creates more jobs that you don't have to rely on going on Indeed.com, getting your resume seen, getting 4 interviews in, and then having a job where the mobility may be pretty small. Versus in blockchain, if we do this DAO type decentralized organization, if I'm a badass developer and I love your game, and the community is saying, hey, we really want to have more ships in game, like, can we get that? We can be like,
You
yeah,
can do
actually,
it. You can do
this
it. Yeah.
guy is an awesome developer. We're going to give him funds.
Yeah.
He'll write a proposal. He'll be like, hey, I'm willing to make 10 models of ships, and this will take me 1 year to do, and I would love X amount of money. And so we're just like, cool, here you
Cool.
go. And so now the person who's interested in the game also has a job that was provided by the game, but he doesn't work for us. Like, he can do
Great.
whatever he wants. If it's a, I think, a really beautiful concept.
Yeah, it's great because it's like if investors of today become more an active part of the company itself, and in some way inside the blockchain they are paid from this company because they are paid from the network effect that is generated around. This is very
Yeah,
interesting.
and I
Oh,
know we haven't touched, and I think this is a good segue to get into what you can do with an NFT. Like, why an NFT? What is so cool about an NFT? And opinion, it's it's a contract that is built into code that represents ownership and a transaction between parties. And so why that's so cool is that if in a game, us take influence for example. So if you own an asteroid in game, there's only 250,000 of them. If there's a million players, not everyone can play on their own asteroid. So if they don't want to start in the shared territory of the main hub, like the home base where any player can play for free, they can say, hey, player 567, I'd love to be able to build on your asteroid. And player 567 can say, hey, yeah, no problem. I'm going to send you over a smart contract, sign it. And what that's going to do is 10% of all the resources that you pull off of my asteroid, I get. I don't have to do anything. It's your lease. That's You're paying rent on my asteroid. Um, and so this whole model becomes like, if players love this game and you own an asteroid, you could be like a landlord, and you can be like, oh yeah, I play the game, I mine, I have some ships, but I bought a really big asteroid, and like 100 people can play on this asteroid, and so I'm just gonna allow other people to utilize it because the amount I play, I'll never utilize it to its full potential, and I would love to earn some resources in return so that when I play, I can build more often.
ooh.
So it's truly an economy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a new economy, a new world economy from A to Z. This whole economy built in this game. So it's like a second world, and I'm sort of imagining that we will live this second world not just with our hands, but with VR, AR, of course. This
yeah,
everything will be integrated inside this game.
yep. And to be honest, and this is like, who knows what's going to happen, but in my opinion, we have what, almost 7.5 billion people on this planet or something like that.
Yeah, for the moment, yeah.
At a certain point, there's no longer the ability to provide jobs to every single person that is a physical job.
Yeah.
And
So we
so,
will have jobs, virtual jobs, literally
yeah,
virtual jobs. A
and
virtual
if
economy like that. If I am a landlord, I'll have money from it and everything connected to it.
yeah, because let's just say that this happens. There's this whole economy. People are making money playing games, not just influence, but any game on the blockchain, whatever it is. People like, oh, well, that's stupid. It's just a game. Why would it be worth any money to people? Like, how can people make a living off of it? Well, when you think about it, it's like, why not? If someone's putting in the time and the effort and creating value for, I mean, the gamer community is billions of people, so there's clearly already inherent value there because that many people play it. So why not give the people who are providing the most to the game incentive?
Of
So if you
course.
want to be an asteroid type real estate tycoon and
Yeah.
you know lease out rights and stuff like that, go for it. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. I
Like that
always
sounds
I always dream, I think like everyone else, to be an astronaut, and I can become an astronaut one day inside your game.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It's and that's what I think like, that's the
And I
idea
can
that's
be
so
paid
cool.
for it. Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Yeah, I could literally go on forever. I think it's mind blowing how cool
Yeah.
it is. But I think if you've seen the movie Ready Player One,
Yeah.
I think that blockchain technology combined with AR, VR, and current uh, processing power will eventually move society into what, like, I don't know if it's going to look like Ready Player One, but it's going to be acceptable and normal to say, oh yeah, I play influence like 8 hours a day and I earn money and I'm like in a VR suit doing it. Like, it sounds crazy right now, but 20 years from now, 5 years, like, I don't know what the timeline is.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it's not going to be like, you do what? It's going to be like, wait, really? Like, how did you get into that? That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's going to be slow though.
Yeah, it's amazing. But we don't know when this will happen, but we know when influence will come out, and if you want to share when influence will come out your game, because of course I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
play.
Okay, I'll give it the plug here. Influence, again, it's a space strategy MMO built on the Ethereum blockchain.
Of
They're
course,
going
a
to be
link
doing
in the description.
Yeah, and then we're going to be building, or our first release will go out late April. We're hopefully shooting for April 20th. So please click the link in the description, check us out, join the Discord, get on the mailing list, whatever it is. And if you guys really want to support, buy an asteroid.
Yeah.
All the money that we're getting from this sale directly goes into further development of this dream.
How
This is
much
not
will
a
be how much will be an asteroid at the beginning? Is there already a price, or is there a price that will be decided later from the network effect, or from you? It's just not public. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's going to start about asteroids will start around $50,
Oh yeah,
and
I'll
they
buy.
will.
I'll definitely buy one and more than one.
Yeah, yeah, and they'll. So the price of it is directly proportional with the size of the asteroid. The
Okay.
bigger the asteroid, the more expensive.
Of course.
And the thing about these asteroids is that in real life, asteroids in space, the size variance is so massive that the biggest asteroid in game that we have is going to be priced probably around like $1.2 million or something like that.
Yeah.
But when people are like, oh my God, that's outrageous. Well, if you believe in the game and you think it's going to be popular and fun, owning that asteroid is equivalent to owning, if you do $1.2 million divided by 50, that's how big that asteroid is. Like,
Yeah.
it's massive. You can have thousands and thousands of players living and thriving on this asteroid. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Come check it out. It's still mind blowing to me. I'm working 18 hours a day, just like doing it all.
I can see it, man.
It's gonna be fun. Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you so
thank you,
much for
man. I
having.
wish you really wish you all the best for this game. It's amazing, and thank you for blowing my mind today. Now I need to go to sleep. But
Yeah, and once the launch happens in April, after it, maybe we do another one and just talk and see. Like, I would
of
love to follow
course,
up because we're able to say like
of
people
course.
found value and like we're so excited and here's our next
Of
step.
course, man. I of
So, yeah,
course want to see you in another episode, because I think that today we talked about the 1% of what gaming and blockchain can do, and I want to have an official presentation of influence a game because space gaming blockchain this will be the future, man. So thank you very
yeah,
much. I appreciate you for you to coming today, and see you
yeah.
soon.
Thank you so much, so much. This was a ton of fun. I don't get the opportunity to just spill my blockchain excitement.
But you need more opportunities because nothing couldn't stop you today. So I hope I can give you more opportunities, of course, but you need to go there and say, hey, make me do another podcast, make me do podcast, but please make me talk.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been fun. And yeah, let's talk again soon.